Lokati here. Today we are discussing our latest build. All builds are made live on stream, so you're welcome to come by Twitch and ask any questions and watch full videos. Links below. Alright, we are looking at our Lich build today. This is a Reaper, Death Seal, Infernal Shade build. It's a little complicated on the outside, but pretty easy to figure out once you get started. So we're just going to go. And it works pretty straightforward here. We are literally just dashing across everything with Reap. We're using Infernal Shade to kill everything. And then we're using Death Seal whenever it's on cooldown, because Death Seal straight up buffs all of our damage and causes us to do this massive pulse of AoE constantly. Clearing the map is really straightforward. The only thing you have to watch out for is if you're in a lull where there's no enemies, you need to use potions to keep your life up so that you can stay in Reaper form. There's the bossy guy and the end of this one. However, we need some more stability so that we can do a boss fight next. And so like I said, here's a point where your health is going down. We can use Death Seal to capture that life and stop it. And then we just need targets to put dots on so that we can bleed them up and do damage to them and regain life. And then we can use potions like this and then Death Seal again. And so it becomes a management of things to kill. And when there's not things to kill, use Death Seal and potions to make sure you stay in Reaper form. The longer you stay in Reaper form, the more damage you do. And then it caps out at, I want to say, 25 seconds in. So once you're in it for 25 seconds, you just really want to stay in it for as long as possible, because that's when you're doing the most damage. And as you can see, all of our abilities here are hitting from anywhere from 10 to 75k, depending on what buffs we're at and what targets we have available to us. So very solid, quick, easy clearing build here. Playstyle is the same for bosses. You do have marrow shards for single target if you need it, but these are 3 bosses, so we're just going to rely on Infernal Shade for doing all of our damage here. Again, leap in Reaper form, start Death Seal, and start throwing out our abilities. Now we lost Reaper form there because I dived into a fireball. But Reaper form has a cheat death built into it. So when that happens, all you do is play safe for a little while, wait for your Reaper form to come back up, and then you're good to go. Now, if you have good gear and you feel comfortable going in and tanking, you can dive in with your Death Seal and do big damage, just like that. Oh, we had no blessing. Congratulations. Fire Shred, huge bonus to our damage. Now, I have build guides for current gear and build guides for future gear. So we'll talk a little bit about that. First things first, here's our current gear. And we're going to go through this really quickly because this is just what we're currently using, but we have Death Seal on our helm, resistances and damage over time and spell damage on our amulet, Reaper form on our chest, Spine of Malatros with increased critical strike chance and ignite. We have Flames of the Midnight, we have a Spider Silk for resistances and fire damage, and mainly cooldown reduction speed. An Heirloom of the Last Nomad for resistances and health, and we're going to slam health into that. We have an Ambitions of the Erased for more crit strike multi and more fire damage, as well as some resistances and skill points. We have boots for resistances, movement speed, int, and health. And we have gloves for health, int, and critical strike chance. Now, as you can see, crit strike chance is very important to us. On our idols over here, we have damage while transformed, increased spell damage while at low health on both of those idols. We have one singular increased health and increased fire damage, and then we have small health and physical resistance vitality here. These are just to fill in some resistance gaps that we may have in our gear. And as you can see, we did that boss with 38% fire resistance, and it is a fire boss, so tanky we are. Now, most of our ward is going to be coming from our spirits, which are being generated with ward through Heirloom of the Last Nomad here. That is where we're going to get the largest portion of our ward survivability when we are not in Death Seal. However, while we are in Death Seal, most of our survivability is going to be coming from the copious amounts of Leech that we have, coupled with defense through endurance and endurance threshold. This is a 60% damage reduction to health below 434, and then Death Seal is going to put us at, we were already low. Death Seal puts us about 500, so almost all of our health is protected by endurance while we are Death Sealed. Now our armor is coming primarily from our Lich form, coupled with our Death Seal. That puts us at 46% damage reduction with armor. It's a very, very solid number. Now later on, we'll be getting a Bone Claimer Barbute here. We can slam Death Seal into, and that'll be another source of ward for us. We can also play with a low life ward. And so we can use Exsanguinous here, low life ward gloves here as an option. The only caveat to that is whenever you enter Death Seal, you need to do it with potions first to jump your health up so that you can go into Death Seal at a safe life. But that's not going to be the play style that we're choosing to use for right now. That just is an option for some in-game scaling. Now, like I said, we have a final planar here that we can list down below. And we can also take some time to look at it real quick. And so this is our final planar here, and you'll see the gear is very similar. We are using a Logi's Hunger here for some increased critical strike chance. We do have the Bone Claimer Barbute here for some more ward. Again, slammed in with Death Seal. We're in a Titan's Heart for some additional damage reduction. Spine of Malotros with crit strike multi, and reduced bonus damage from critical strikes. So on and so forth. So you'll see this is an evolution of the build that we had already. And you can take some time to look at this, and you'll land somewhere between the beginning of the game and this as you progress. And so your gear will upgrade piece by piece. Nothing is required to make this build work. Spine of Malotros is very, very strong. Now the differences between these two builds are pretty significant. You can see here, going from the build that I'm playing to this build is 142% more crit multi, which is 1.4 times damage. 39% more crit chance is 1.2 times damage. 20 more spell damage is 25% more damage. 135% more fire damage is 5%. That is a total of 300% damage increase. That is a massive scale for you to climb on as you progress through the game and improve your gear. And can get even further than what we have here. We have a fairly defensive setup here. Defensively, we take 15% less damage. We have 1400 more health, 60 more ward per second, 200% more ward retention, double the EHP, and 3 times the movement speed. Blood of the Exile, very, very strong boots right here. Highly recommend you getting them, slamming some move speed into them, and zooming around the map. So this is also a great source of our int. Intelligence is one of our primary scaling factors on the build. And so it's very, very important that you keep your int up. And you can see we have int slammed into our rings here as well. And then over here we have int slammed into our gloves. Alright folks, thanks for stopping by and watching our video. If you liked what you saw, give me a like, follow, subscribe. Also, come by the stream and say hi. Love to answer questions and help however I can. Y'all have a wonderful day wherever you are.